If you're parents and you're looking to move over to Spain with your kids, I bet you guys have 100 different questions. So here we are, we're all parents, and we're going to talk about being a parent and living in Spain with kids. Are you guys ready? Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back. So today, being a parent and living in Spain with kids. So we all have kids.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what people want to know. So they're about to move over to Spain. Let's start talking about the lifestyle with kids and locations. Matt, you can start.
Okay, so we live in Fuengirola, and we live in a fantastic location, actually, quite near the beach. So we are beach, not beachfront, but beachside. But more importantly, besides living that close to the beach, we have 3 children, and the reason we chose the location that we did was it's just to the east of the castle, and within a stone's throw, and certainly within walking distance of the place that we live at, we have a multitude of playgrounds. Our kids are all 10 and under.
When you decided to move to that place, was that the reason you moved into that place? Was that like the main focus? Like, I want to be close to playgrounds?
We wanted, yeah. Actually, funnily, yeah, it was one of the factors. It was, I mean, first of all, just for the notes, we rent the place that we live in right now. Before we choose to buy a place, we kind of like a try before you buy. So we wanted to rent. We wanted to see if, having just moved here a year ago, we wanted to see if Fuengirola was the place that we wanted to sort of settle down. So we decided to rent, and this opportunity came up. Yeah, it was the fact that it's literally walking distance to everything. We can walk to, as I said, a multitude of fantastic playgrounds. We can walk to the beach, it's 50 meters away. These 2 of the biggest playgrounds in Fuengirola are 50 meters away. There's another one which we call the Dragon Playground, which is just on the other side of the river from Miramar Shopping Center. It takes us 10 minutes to walk there. So anyway, so for us, like, not just this place, but Fuengirola, it's very flat, so it's very accessible. Having come from Mijas Pueblo in the mountains, that was a big thing for us.
So interesting thing, before we talk about Cass, your location, playgrounds, like, it's massive in Spain because everything's sort of outdoor living, Like, I think that's one of the big, like, for me, being born here, it wasn't a change of scene, but for you guys, move from your respective countries to Spain, everything's about outdoor living. And that's a big sort of part of being a parent in Spain, where a park is actually a place where we're always at parks, right? It seems like we're always at a park. Like, there's always a party at a park.
Our first year, we would look at Google Maps. We would find the playgrounds, and we'd just drive to every single playground with the kid. We're like, oh wow, another new playground. Oh wow.
Yeah. But how often do you drive from Estepona to Fuengirola to visit some of the playgrounds that are near our house?
I would say like once every 6 weeks. We do like to explore on the weekends, so we check out all the playgrounds along the entire Costa del Sol.
Which one's your favorite?
The Dragon that you mentioned.
The Dragon, it's massive, but it's not just a playground. You can also host parties there. There's barbecue areas in the back, which are incredible. Bring your own meat, fry things up. It's great. It's really nice.
The parks are part of, let's say, upbringing kids in Spain. Parks are a massive part of it. Cass, Estepona.
Yes.
Why did you choose Estepona for bringing your kids up?
Yeah, we just got to know it. We started, our first year we were actually in San Pedro, so the east side of Marbella. We started to explore Estepona quite a bit as a family. We just found it was very child-friendly, lots of young people, older people. It just had, Estepona has a cute charm to it. It's like a town, it's very welcoming. So we fell in love with the charm of Estepona. And to be honest, this property came up kind of like Matt, right on the beach. So for us, that was one of our priorities in moving to the Costa del Sol, was to be as close to the beach as possible. So we found this property, we're right on the beach, you have the Paseo right in front of us. We can bike, we can walk right into Estepona Port. So it just feels like there's a lot to offer for us as a family.
Fuengirola, Estepona, my turn.
Good transition.
Smooth!
And I'm in East Marbella, actually in Elviria, as you guys know. And the reason I chose Elviria, because I grew up in East Marbella, I grew up in Capopino, and it's one of the greenest places on the Costa del Sol.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah,
One of the best beaches on the Costa del Sol. And it's that suburban life which I think is great for kids. Like, I'm not really a city person, I'm more of a suburban guy. So I just love to be able to walk through the urbanization with the kids, go for a walk with the dog through the dog parks. Elviria has a lot of outdoor sort of nature.
But you guys, I mean, you take the Costa Explorer quite a lot into the mountains.
I
and
love
you're walking with the kids and the dog, right?
We do it all the time. So like we have walking paths and a lot of like, there's a lovely park next to Open Court, the center of Elviria. And there's a playground there as well. So what we do is we will stop at the playground and go for a walk through the forest with the dog and the kids, and it's amazing. Like it's all outdoor lifestyle. No?
Elviria is where we did our team building last year.
Yeah. We also have Bobby Jump. Like Bobby Jump, my God, for those parents. Bobby Jump is the place to be. It's an indoor sort of a trampoline park with all these sort of activities. And then, a ton of different sports. We have a football pitch, we have paddle courts, we have tennis courts. So it's always, it depends on the age of your kids, but our weekends are parks, Bobby Jump, beach, and exercise.
Repeat.
Yeah, same.
I feel like we talked about locations, the playground scale. I love that. I think that's a new thing we have to add on to like the property search list. Like, how important are playgrounds in your property search? How about education? So let's start with you, Cass. Your kids, what kind of school do they go to? Why do you choose that school? Tell me about that.
Our first 2 years, we started at an international school. The language was predominantly English. And we thought, we speak English at home anyways. Moving to Spain, it was very important for us to have the kids learn the Spanish language. So they are just finishing up their second year at school in Estepona at a Spanish school. We're proud to say the boys are now fully bilingual, so speaking English and Spanish.
How long did that take for you kids to fully speak Spanish?
Yeah, so the first couple months were very challenging. You can imagine these little boys, all they know is English, and they walk in and every single one of the kids and the teachers are all speaking Spanish and fast Spanish, and the boys just sort of looking up like. So after every day after school, the boys would come home from school and be like, "Mama, we don't understand what they're saying, Mama," and after a couple of months, they were happy, totally happy, running in, running out. And the teachers tell me it took about 6 months to the end of the first year to fully become responsive and understanding. So I would say, 1 year of Spanish school, it took our kids to become bilingual.
So Matt, before I ask you about your setup, let's say, for the viewers which are not used to or don't know how the Spanish system works, there's 3 kinds of schools in Spain. Yeah, so you have the public system, you have the private system, private schools, and you have something in the middle, which is called un colegio concertado, which is half-half. A school that is privately owned but has a level of public, let's say, administration, all the other way around, right? In the public schools, you have from primary through to secondary and bachillerato, which is the highest before you go to university. The concertados, exactly the same thing. But the interesting thing about the private schools in Spain is that you have obviously Spanish private schools, which are great, and then you have international private schools. And I think that's one of the most interesting elements for people that relocate to Spain, because you have a variety of different teachings. You can come over from Great Britain and put your child in a British system, or an American system, in a Swedish system, even in Norwegian. So we have Norwegian schools here. Like, people don't know that, but there are Norwegian schools in Spain.
It's true.
Right? Yeah. So I think that's super, like, a big advantage for people that relocate with kids. What's your setup, man?
So we went down the international school route. We came from abroad, and actually it was just, for us, it was just a matter of convenience. So we chose the school based on the location. We already knew some people whose kids went to the school that our kids are enrolled in. And so it just felt like a natural transition. Kids are super happy. I think it takes us 7 minutes or something like that to drive to school. So yeah, it was ideally located. We love the school. They're always doing they're doing different activities. Occasionally they'll even arrange trips up to the Sierra Nevada.
Oh, nice.
Pretty good
that's
setup.
So nice.
Yeah.
My setup, and I feel like the difference to you guys, I actually studied here, right? So I went through primary, secondary, and then obviously my A-level at Bachiller. When I went to school originally I went to a Spanish school for many years, and I just want to say, before I talk about my family setup, I think the Spanish education is amazing. It's tough for the secondary years, because you study a lot more in Spain than what you study if you follow the British curriculum, for example. I did that in my Spanish school, and then I went to British A-levels, and I remember thinking, wow, this is not as in-depth as, Spanish. No?
So just, if the Spanish public school system is so amazing, why did you transition to the
That was my
private
question.
school system to do your A levels.
And
What was
thinking
the, what was
ahead
the
Yeah, and thinking ahead for my kids too,
Yeah.
like what would you recommend? Like, do you have more opportunity if you go to the?
No, I mean,
or was it more like
think-
you want to go to
Yes.
British University
Yes.
and
Okay.
therefore
Yeah, so
the transition would be easier?
there's two things. Like, I think there's nothing. I mean, one of Spain's biggest exports are students. Like, our students are so well prepared. Some of the best doctors, surgeons, engineers are Spanish, right? Like, we export top quality students in university level and also pre-university level. But in my specific scenario, I decided to go to A levels and study British A levels because I wanted to study in the UK. That's the only reason. If not, I would have. I've got many friends of mine which stayed in the Spanish system. So back to my setup, my kids go to an international school as well instead of a Spanish school because I wanted them to study in English. Because in my household, Spanish, I mean, my family speaks Spanish all the time. So it's quite natural for them to speak Spanish. I thought, okay, we need to push the English side here. And I think most people that relocate to Spain with kids, I mean, I think 50-50, but a lot of people choose international to, in the early years, consider English as the main language. I mean, we have clients from Lithuania, Estonia, all over the world. I mean, you're English speaking, so it's different.
It's
But
different.
there's a lot of people that want English to be the main basis. And also, English is a very common language in Costa del Sol.
It
I mean,
is,
it's business
and I think
language,
around
isn't
the
it?
world too.
I think for anybody though who is considering it on the international front, which I can speak for, it's one thing. Obviously, do the searches online, study what you can, take whatever the reviews the schools get somewhat with a grain of salt, because often the negative reviews come out and the positive ones don't. Typical.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I
Typical
agree.
with restaurants. I'm not saying if it has negative reviews, trust the school, but I'm just saying don't judge it for the online reviews, because you just don't know. If you have the opportunity to take your time, come down here and tour the schools, book a point. Everybody, like, there's not an international school that's not gonna welcome the opportunity to give you a tour of their school.
Yeah.
Now you have to keep in mind that just because you tour the school doesn't mean you're going to get in. There's a whole process for international schools. Often there's a wait list because while there are many schools, there aren't enough for the demand. So that's one thing. So bear that in mind, and go start early. Start the process.
100%.
When I say early, I mean at least a year in advance. Even if you visit a school now in February, the chances of you having a place for your child in the start of the school year in September is quite unlikely for many of these schools, because there's limited supply for the demand that the coast gets.
I was going to say the same thing, like, because a lot of people look at March 1st is technically the day to register your kids for September, but if you have your focus on one school, sometimes there is a waiting list, and sometimes it may take a longer time, so do your research. Pick three.
You might also get in very, very, very quickly, but
True.
I think that's the exception, not the rule. I think the rule is mostly like, wait, this is not because they're trying to make themselves seem fancy. There's genuinely a wait list. And then you might have a case where you have 3 kids and 2 of them get in and 1 of them doesn't, because there's room in those 2 age groups but not in the 3rd. So it can be a little bit complicated. And then there's typically, your child gets accepted, there's typically some sort of like evaluation process. They typically want to meet the kid, they want to test the level of written and spoken language, whatever the language may be. So there is a process. So again, the moral of what I'm trying to say is give yourself a lot of time, at least a year. And if you're lucky, you get it fast. And if you're not, at least you've prepared, and you won't be disappointed. And I think that's really important. If you land here in August and you're expecting your kid to enter in September, it's like, forget about it. It's not gonna happen.
So next topic, which is also an important topic for parents, is healthcare for their kids when they're in Spain.
Yep, so we pay for private insurance. We're really happy with it. It's very affordable in Spain, so I guess it's nice to have that system where you have access to private if you need, or public depending on what type of residency you have. No, we're really happy with our private system, and the doctors for our boys, how quick we get seen. It's a really easy process.
We've opted to have a private setup, so we pay for private healthcare. We've lived abroad before, and we've been used to paying kind of obscene amounts of money for private healthcare for the family.
Really?
And we thought having lived in Southeast Asia, it was a lot of money for whatever reason. And we went to open up our bank account, and we were offered this like kind of unbelievable deal, and I almost thought it was too good to be true. Yeah, fake. It was like then it was like literally like 1 0 less than what we've been used to, and so we're like. hang on, read the fine print, everything seemed legit, and sure enough, like it's paid off. It's just a few €100 for the entire family, and it's paid off in spades. We've had a few like small things here and there among a family of 5, so things happen, and it's been great, no questions asked. We haven't had to use the public healthcare system, but and just anyway, we just felt like it was great value for money, and it's really paid off.
My household, we have private. I think the general reference point as of 2025 would be around €55 per person per month, and that would cover everything: hospitalization, the whole lot. We also have another service which we pay for, which is amazing. It's called Helicópteros Sanitarios. So the private healthcare is, if you want to go in to the clinic, consultation for the kids not feeling well, blah, 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 great, fantastic, it's there. If you have anything major, you go to the public, because the public, big hospital, Costa del Sol is massive, that's where they'll treat you. But then when it's like the annoying thing that, if your son's not feeling well, you have to go down to the hospital, and you lose 3 hours, right? There's a service which, this is a massive tip, it's called Helicópteros Sanitarios, and we pay around, I'd say €600-700 a year, right, for our entire family, and this is a call-out service. So even as parents, right, if you're not feeling well, you can call them and they'll come to you with an ambulance, and a doctor will come and check you home. So, for example, we were in New York a few weeks ago, and before my travel, I had a small little thing on my foot, right? And I called them in, and they just come, check you out at home, and give you a solution there and then. Of course, if it's something that needs treatment, they'll refer you to take you back to the doctors. But it's a great service because, kids got a bug, you don't want to take them to the hospital, you just call Helicópteros Sanitarios while you're cooking, your wife's in the lounge, amazing, taking care of them with a doctor. So Helicópteros Sanitarios, for those guys, like, what a good service. And it's incredible value for money. Like, don't.
We had a couple instances where our kids were home sick. Our private health insurance company sent medics to the house to check out. I think it's something special for just for children. I guess in the case of children, like, you don't know what's wrong until you know what's wrong, and they don't want to risk moving the children if you can avoid it, and so they came to our place. But actually, it's still on my to-do list to sign up for the Helicópteros Sanitarios.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it before, and it just reminded me that would be such a great service.
Yeah. Can we include the link in the description?
Yeah, actually, we're going to include that, and we're also going to link some of the private schools, which are very known in the Costa del Sol, in the description, and some useful links for you guys to have a look at.
Yeah, let's list some private health insurance providers for people to scan and just kind of make their own decisions.
Great ideas. I'll include the ones I use as well, which I really recommend. Let's sort of wrap up by talking about, we talked about, let's say, the general topics. I think people want to know about the activities, what it's like to live on the coast with kids. What are your favorite activities to do with the kids? Playgrounds? We've used that word too many times, so we can't use playground, even though it's what we use most.
For us, hands down, it's being outdoors, not necessarily playgrounds, but for us, the beach. It's the beach. We love being on the beach. We love, walking the beach, collecting seashells, collecting sea glass. So for us, hands down, is being on the beach all year round.
And that's a free activity, and that's one of the nice things on the coast. There's so many things which don't cost money, right?
So many things. The list could go on, literally, for all the outdoor things you can do and little things you can do without paying anything. So it's great.
It had to have been at least 22 degrees, 23 degrees yesterday. It felt like a summer day.
And it's February, guys.
It's mid-February right now. Whenever you're watching this video, it's February.
And
we were, sitting in the sun. We actually had to move ourselves to the shade. It was so hot. Anyway, beautiful. We love the nice weather. That's one of the main reasons to move here, obviously. Yeah. But same thing, funny you mentioning walking along the beach and collecting shells and glass, because it's one of our favorite things to do as well.
Yeah, ours too.
We have the Paseo Marítimo in Fuengirola, which is kind of the beach walkway, the walkway that's just along the beachfront. Fantastic. It's always vibrant. There's so many things to see and do. The hard thing is, not having our kids be tempted by, stopping and buying like something or another, because you do also live in a tourist destination, so the temptations are everywhere. So beware as a parent.
There's stuff everywhere.
It's like, if you're used to coming here or going anywhere on vacation and occasionally buying, splurging on certain things, that becomes your everyday. It's super difficult. Like,
you can't keep
from
up.
those little €1 ball machines. €1 times 1,000 is a lot of euros all of a sudden. Yeah. It's no longer very affordable, right? But there's all sorts of cool attractions or whatever. Anyway, like, just the sights and sounds, and we just love to walk. Yeah, we like to. Again, Fuengirola is very flat, so we'll go biking. We'll go for lots of walk. In fact, we went for a beautiful long walk yesterday. In fact, we started at a playground and then we went all around. It was amazing.
Yeah, picnics, like. There's so much to do as a family, and it's so like it's everywhere. You see other families just playing soccer on the beach or football on the beach or playing ball. You know, like there's so much to do outside.
And
because you know, on and on.
because you know there's so much to do, and because you know, in fact, you can predict the weather.
Yeah.
It's always nice.
That's key.
You can plan whatever you want because the chances of it raining are so small that you can actually, okay, what are we going to do next week? Okay, you're going to bank on the fact that it's going to be nice, which is a huge plus as a parent.
Yeah.
Oh, and plus, by the way, because it's nice weather, you don't have to fight with clothing.
No, this is a big thing.
Moving from Sweden every day,
Canada.
you're going to go outside right now. And then it was like, the next 20 minutes were
jackets, boots,
screaming and shouting and forget about remember Maggie from the Simpsons? Who's like who goes out like this into the snow. She looks like a
that was our lives.
That was like the overalls. It's almost like a curse word in any family's vocabulary back in anyway. None of that. Flip flops, shorts,
flip flops
t-shirt,
all year round.
Like,
you can do it.
It's really funny because like you guys grew up outside Spain and then came here with kids, no? And for me, it's always interesting to see other people's perspective. But it's not until I've left Spain and gone on, for example, small trips to my wife from Holland, so we've gone to Amsterdam, or we've gone, recently we were in New York, or we were all in cold destinations, right? And what I find is like you do. How would I put this? Like you actually go out of your way to do an activity with your child in these countries, and that's the main focus of the activity, which is spend time with your kid, which is lovely, but just do something for your child. And I think the nice thing about Spain, for example, I'll give you a quick example. We'll plan a family dinner, and my parents with Lara, with the kids, we'll go for a nice dinner, and we can sit outside, have nice sardinas or whatever, and there's always a place for the kids to play. So I think the kids' life is very much incorporated into your social life as well. You can do much more than just do something with the kid. Everything sort of comes together in Spain.
It's so true.
Most playgrounds have a bar, restaurant, bistro connected to it. Which means it's just as much catering to the parents as for the kids. For the parents to sit down, have a nice coffee, have a tapas or something like that, and let the kids just play. Let them just play. I'm meeting friends, but it's
so
very unusual, and I don't think you get that in most countries. I think we really take it for granted when we're here.
Yeah.
But until you get here, and I also see this online. A lot of people saying, "Oh, I can't believe this." It's so true. I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't reflected on it, but
that's why going back to that point, like when we would find playgrounds, we'd be like, "Oh my goodness, there's a restaurant right next to it." For Luke and I, that was so nice to have a moment where we can sit, have a coffee, our boys are playing. Like, it just doesn't happen many places, so it's such a good point.
Otherwise, you're just standing around. In most playgrounds, you're just sort of standing up, waiting, watching your kids, waiting for them to retire.
Exactly.
No, let them play for hours on end.
Hours, and everyone's having fun, and then you're meeting other parents, conversing. Like, it's nice.
This has been such a cool conversation. There's so much to talk about that we should literally create
Episode 2.
Costa Parents podcast on YouTube, because living Costa del Sol with parents, follow these guys.
Long story short, it's a great place to raise kids.
Yeah,
That's
we're all very happy parents here.
Clearly,
so.
yeah. And I think the reason it's been such a great talk is we're really speaking from the heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a genuine feedback.
I think that's a perfect wrap, guys.
Yeah.
So what a cool, amazing conversation. Thanks for being.
Thanks,
High five.
guys. Thanks, guys.
So to you guys at the other side of the screen watching, if you've got kids and thinking to move over to the Costa del Sol, well, 2 people that have done it and 1 person
Do it.
did.
Do it.
100%. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.